It's time to make an elevation change. So get ready to take your mind on a journey of transformation with the Elevation Change podcast. I know you've been waiting on it. This podcast will explore the peaks, the valleys of personal growth, the pursuit of life with purpose. And so today is very special, right? Because I'm releasing this. My birthday was Friday. Happy birthday to me. And really, it's been a long time coming. Y'all been asking for this. So the thing for me is I always want to pour into y'all. I always want to give y'all platforms. Y'all know I give you the Monday videos. I'm on other podcasts. But then I really said, you know what? I don't have anything for myself. So the thing is, I wanted to bring to you today everything that I talk about in this first episode. So you're going to see this podcast happen every Wednesday. I'm going to give you seasons of it, so you probably won't see the whole thing all year long. But look, that's what we're here for, is to grow, right? So let's just get into it. So the first topic I had for you today was how to lead with purpose. So a lot of people that always, talking about, man, I'm trying to get into leadership. Like, I'm trying to increase my leadership in the household. I'm trying to, just be a better person, be a better husband, father, wife, kid to their parents, like that type of stuff. And I really wanted to bring to y'all today how to really lead with purpose. Now, the thing is, I'm going to talk to y'all about the workplace real quick. And so basically what I want to bring to you now is steps on how to really get there, right? So the thing for me is, and this is just step one for me. So you want to be clear with your purpose. Now let's talk about that. A lot of people in the workplace, they'll talk about be valuable with your organization, be aligned with your organization. I don't really agree with that, because the thing is until a certain point, until we reach a certain position, maybe a director, maybe upper management, maybe some type of officer level, something, you have a life to live. Like, you haven't necessarily given yourself, and I'm just being real with y'all, right? You haven't given yourself necessarily 1,000% to a company to where you may be in one of those C-suite positions and you have to be available at all times. Yeah, of course, there's jobs that don't necessarily do that, but that's the thing for me, right? I want y'all to start to think about what it really means to be clear with your purpose, right? So why do you lead people? See, the thing for me is a lot of folks always say it over time. They be, oh man, I feel so much better when I talk to you, or man, I feel empowered. I feel like I could do better things. Like, I was just in a meeting the other day, shout out to Manny, matter of fact. And he was like, man, the reason that I'm still doing what I do is because of this guy. And he was like, I've opened a business. I'm doing clothing. He had his hat on at the time. And it really just kind of hit me that it was like, I'm working in my purpose. Not that his performance is great, not that he's gotten promoted several times since meeting me, but it's been the fact that he's like, my life has grown. Like, him and his wife have gotten a better relationship. Like he is pushing her to do certain things in business. She's pushing him. Like, you can tell that they're uplifting each other, right? And that proceeds to their growth. Now, I'm not saying I'm responsible for his marriage, but what I am saying is that when you become a better person, you do, like, your level of everything elevates, right? And so that was always the mission for me, like what my purpose is. I want to empower people to become a better person, to reach a certain level. Like Jordan and Kobe always said it all the time, basically, right? Like, they practiced it till they got it, like they couldn't get it wrong, basically. So that's what I want y'all to start to think about, is when you really operate in your purpose, like, why are you leading people? Like, why do you want to lead people? And a lot of folks, they always refer to, well, I want the money. It's a bigger pay grade. I just want to take this to, take my life to another level by getting a bigger status, I guess you could say. And that's not necessarily what this is about. Like, I want you to really start to think about, why should people follow you? Because at the end of the day, that's really what this is about. Any leader cannot lead without followers. No leader ever stood in the middle of the field and said, everybody follow me. Everybody said no, and then nothing really happened from it. Like, no one followed them. No one came to their assistance. No one came about, and then they were like, yeah, look at me, I'm a leader. So you have to figure out what that is for you. I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, if you pour into somebody, if you pour into people, and the reason that you're in leadership is to really drive people into a better spot, your business will love you for it. So that's about it for me. Like, as far as like why I'm driven, like what my purpose is, why really I think that should be your purpose. So the second part is I want you to be clear about your role. So a lot of times, and I even want to switch role up a little bit. Be clear about what your power is, because everybody can't be like me. Everybody can't have that, and this is just behavioral science at this point. Everybody can't have the personality and to gain the buy-in from people instantly, and folks just want to follow them, and folks just want to do all that stuff, right? Like, everybody can't have what I have. But the thing is, I might not be able to have what you have. See, there's times where you're going to have a skill set that I might not be able to ever touch. There's times that you're going to have a skill set that I might not be able to ever reach, because you become so good at it. And so that's what I want you to really start to think about, is what is your role in a particular thing? And I always use this analogy. It's like when I'm in a team, if you think about the Avengers, I'm Thor. I'm going to make you laugh. I'm going to get people to buy in. Folks are always going to talk to me about, like, you know, this is what the community looks like, right? Because he has Asgard. But then the other part to it is I'm going to go swing the hammer. If you need something done, I'm going to get it done. If you need the enemies taken care of, we drop into battle. We go into whatever. We fighting Thanos, whoever. I'm not necessarily sitting there for too long thinking about how we're going to approach the situation, because I'm swinging, I'm throwing thunder, I'm doing all that stuff. That's me. But see, the thing is you have other people, and I work with these folks. We work very well together. Your Doctor Strangers, your Visions, for example, that they're looking for all the different avenues that we can approach something. They're looking for the data. They're looking to put together processes and procedures where I might not necessarily be doing that. And that's the thing where I say you have to find your role in particular things. So let's talk about that. How do we find our role? You really want to look at what your superpower is. What is the thing that comes easiest to you when you're in your natural state and you're just running straight forward? What are the things that happen to you or that you're good at? I always noticed that at a certain point, people just tended to buy into me. I always noticed that at a certain point, people just tended to, if we needed people to run a certain direction, I was the one who did it. Like, this goes all the way back to when I used to play football. Everybody, captain of the football team, all that stuff. But it wasn't because of the accolades is what I was looking for. It was because people looked at me and said, this is the direction I want to go. I will buy into him. I will run through a wall for him. Even with any team that I deal with now, if I'm building a high performing team, everybody knows if you want people to run in a certain direction for you, get Corey to come in. That's why people book me to speak. That's why people have me to come in and consult with their company, because they're trying to figure out how do I get people to run in those directions. But that's a gift. See, the thing is you may have a different gift where you can crunch numbers and you are an Excel wizard and you can figure out facts and figures and you enjoy putting processes together. And you enjoy just the data side of it. That's fine. I'm not that type of person. I'm not bad at it, but I just don't enjoy doing it. So find what your role is, right? And even outside of that, I want you to think about this for a second. What's your role in the household, right? Because leadership extends all the way to other avenues. Leadership extends to your kids, right? Like, leadership extends to your friendships. What's the role that you serve with them? Like, I think about when me and my friends get together and we start talking or something may need to happen, I almost serve the same purpose. You'll start to see things start to reoccur over time, over and over and over again. And you may not understand it from the beginning. You may not understand that, like, this is where you fit, because I had to buy into that at a certain point in time, because I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything special. If people buying into me, they bought into everybody else. If I get things done, doesn't everybody get things done? That's the type of stuff where you really have to start to think to yourself, what is that power? And it comes with exploration. Like, I'm going to just be honest with y'all. You're not going to find what this is by just thinking about it, wishing upon a star, anything like that. Like, you're going to find this by going out, doing the thing, and taking care of business. So I want to bring you to the next part, right? So I want to be clear on who you serve. See, and I'm going to take y'all down this route. There's times where people will say, I will serve an organization. I don't necessarily agree with that. You may serve an organization. Of course, we all have jobs. We all have responsibilities at our job. But that doesn't necessarily mean we serve our job. I serve customers, which come in the form of employees. I serve customers in the form of people in management roles. I serve customers in the form of Jim or Sally in the street, people that I've mentored, my friends that I have that can lean on me to glean evidence from me, to glean insight from me on different things on how to handle it. Like, when I really think about my purpose, who I serve, it's people who want to elevate themselves. Just like this podcast, right? It's elevation change. That's how I came up with the name, because I need everybody in life to make an elevation change. Anytime that you're around me, I want your life to elevate. I want you to do better. I want you to go and get whatever success looks like for you. So I want you to think about that. Who do you serve? See, even for me, I had to really embrace with myself and say, there's a certain group of people that I do not serve. There's a certain group of people that will not listen to me. They don't care for my voice. They don't care for what I do. It is what it is. But I know there's a certain group of people who's willing to listen to me. They're willing to take what I have to say. They're willing to close the gap on their life. Like, that's the type of stuff that's why I do this. I don't do this for the other people. So figure out who it is that you serve. So the next part is, and I think this is really important. Like, of course, all of them are real important, right? Like, that's why I'm talking to you about it. I want you to figure out what drives you and your values. So a lot of times we get in positions, we start talking about, like, this is my morals and my values and all that other stuff. And when something pops up, like a bag pops up, money pops up, an opportunity pops up, something like that, they're like, all right, I'm out. That's not really what this is about. Like, I want you to figure out what your values, what your morals are, like, and stick to them. I've had positions where people have said, hey, I think this would be less stress from you. But that doesn't necessarily coincide with what I do. Right? I'm going to have to take the stress because of what my purpose on this earth is for. Like, my values say that I'm going to take care of people. I'm going to elevate people. I'm going to put them in a better position. So me sitting behind a desk in the background doing work to where I can probably twiddle my thumbs all day and just get my stuff done, that's not really what my job is. That's not really what my purpose is. That's not who I serve. I don't serve silence. I serve people. And then the final piece I want to talk to y'all about is, like, just being authentic. So here's the thing, and I left this one for last. So being authentic isn't just being like, okay, this is just me. This is just who I am. I need you to be the best version of that. But really, what you have to start doing is thinking about, see, authenticity comes from a bunch of people. Authenticity comes from the interactions you've had with people, the prior people you've run across in your life, experiences that you've had with certain people. Authenticity comes from, like, everything put together in that. So I want you to start to think about that too. I want you to start to think about, who do you want to emulate? And a lot of people have told me this in my life. They'd be like, well, you act just like this person. And you're right. I was young. But I needed to act like that person at that time. I needed to look at this particular person and say, this is how they conduct themselves. I like it. So therefore, I will conduct myself like that. And then you start to take pieces of each particular person and handle it like you start to become who you are, but also with those characteristics of yourself. See, there's too many people out here that are saying, man, I just need to be authentic. There's nobody like me or whatever. But I'm going to just be honest with you. There's a bunch of people like you. There's a bunch of people like you in this world. They may not have your name. They may not talk like you. They may not have the same last name as you. They may not have been through the same experience as you. But there's other people out here just like you. So I want you to start thinking about that too. It's like, how did that person become just like you, and they don't have the same experiences, they don't have the same name, they didn't grow up in the same household that you did, but all of a sudden y'all have the same skill set? Start to think about that. Who in your life have you observed? Who in your life have you talked to? What type of, especially in leadership, like who's led you before? What leaders have you gleaned information from? What leaders have you gotten things from that they may have dropped a gem on you? And then you say, you know what, I'm going to add that to the arsenal. Those are the things that I want y'all to start to think about as far as being authentic. See, and I'm just saying, too often, folks will say, I just have to be this version 1.0 of myself. I gave up on myself. Like I'm almost cheating on myself because I'm trying to shoot for version 2.0, but other people are saying that I changed. I'm trying to shoot for version 3.0, but they say, hey, you used to do this 6 months ago. You used to be like this 3 months ago. You used to like to party 2 years ago. You used to be the authoritarian a year ago, whatever it may be. That's okay. You can change. You may have seen something in the meantime. You may have seen something. You may have had a particular experience, and now your life changes. Now you change. Now you want to react differently. And this brings me to, and I just wanted to break down some characteristics for you of what really makes a great leader, what really makes a great purpose-driven leader, right? And then I'm going to take y'all home with this. So the first thing is of course, you have to be driven. And I'm talking about like real drive. Like I'm not talking about the fake drive where somebody gave you a check, you got a bonus, so you do real good for like 2 weeks and then you're done with it. I'm talking about like real drive. I'm talking about putting the work in. I'm talking about learning information that you need to learn, going to the conferences, listening to people, reading books, listening to podcasts like this. I need you to be driven. I don't need you to be the type of person to where you're waiting for somebody. When something finally pops up, all of a sudden you have this drive to yourself. All of a sudden the fire is burnt. You have to get to a point to where no matter what, you wake up every single day. It's time to go get it. Yeah, there's going to be days where it's going to be hard for you to get up. But you got to get to a point to where I wake up, I know my purpose, I know my values. This is what I'm driven to do. These are the people counting on me, and I'm not going to let them down. There are far too many people, and I'm just being honest with y'all, there's far too many people in leadership positions right now that say, if I could get the bonus, I'll be driven. If I can get a promotion, I'll be driven. Like the worst thing, and this makes me think about this, the worst thing that could ever happen is I ask a leader, hey, what's your dream? What's your vision? I know you just got into this position. Maybe we're onboarding them, something like that. I know you just got into this position. What's your next step? And they're like, well, I just want to get promoted to this department. They already have an exit strategy. Like if you have an exit strategy and you just got here, I don't really know why you're here. What that really tells me is that you're here to just kind of get your numbers. And like at work, you can make sure that numbers hit. Like there's so many ways. This is why I hate numbers, because you can manipulate them. You can twist them, make them sound like a particular way. You can do certain things with numbers that they'll look good regardless. But the thing is and it's similar in business. Like there's people who've approached me. They've been like, hey, you want to go into business with me? You want to invest in my business? And I immediately ask them, I'll be like, so what's your exit strategy for your business? If they have one, I don't want to do business with you. Because what it tells me is that you already came in with the notion of thinking about how I don't have to work in the business that I said that I wanted to take part of. You're already trying to figure out a way to step away, which is more than likely going to show up in different aspects of your business, which, to be honest with you, I've done this a long time. I've done this enough to figure out that when people are trying to figure out exit strategies immediately, and I'm not talking about I've been doing this for 20 years, 15 years, 25 years, and now it's time for me to start to phase out because I've gotten my business to a certain point. Now it's time for me to start phasing out. I've been in this position before where I had 10 people on my team, 10 of them promoted. I had people that bid into my team. Those people also promoted. My job at this point is done. I cannot get everybody in this department promoted. I can't help everybody in the department. There's going to be some people that I have to leave behind, and that's okay. But the thing is I never came in with the mindset saying, if I can just get to where I need to get, I'm a bounce. I'm out. That's not what this is about. So we talked about being driven. The next point is, and this is going to be something controversial that I'm going to talk about. Y'all probably going to clip this off the internet. Probably going to hack me up, send it to some companies, whatever. And y'all are going to say, oh, Corey said to not focus on performance. The performance I do want you to focus on is not necessarily the metrics at work. I want you to focus on the performance of the individual and how much better they are at getting at life. Do you have an associate that can't get to work on time, and all of a sudden they start to show up at work on time? Do you have an associate that stays late to work every single day, and now they don't stay late to work every single day? Do you have an associate who's stressed every single day with their job because they're confused and they don't have vision and no clarity? Did that absolve itself? Do you have somebody that says, hey, I don't really know where my life is going? And then you say you help them out, and then you start to figure out through conversation, they have a direction for themselves. They have something to shoot for. They have an aim. They have something that to almost live for, right? Outside of just saying, hey, I got a family or something, or this is what I'm supposed to do, things like that. I've even had situations where they say, hey, you know what? I take work home all the time. It's affecting my marriage. And then all of a sudden they come back and they say, hey, look, my husband just wanted to tell me, or I should tell you, thank you, because my marriage is better. I don't take the stress home. I don't take the work home. My performance is even better than it was before, but my life is better. My quality of life is better. I get to spend more time with my kids, my husband, my grandchildren, whoever that may be. So focus on the performance of the person. The next part is, it's like a widely known term, corporate America, is empathy. You have to have some type of empathy toward people. You have to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes, because far too often we see these metric-driven leaders, these driving force type of leaders that everything is business, and it doesn't matter. Your grandmother may have died. You got a death in the family. Your friends, might have had something go on with them. Your spouse has something going on. You caught a flat tire on the way to work. Your transmission went out on you. And then your immediate reaction is, okay, cool. When's the soonest you can get in? And that's not really the point that we're here for. That's not really what we're trying to do. I want you to start to think about the empathy as far as how can you shift something as simple as, instead of saying, hey, you're late to work. We know we're late to work. We know that you got stuck in traffic. The time tells me that you got here 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late, whatever it may be. And then we move to a point that maybe you switch it to say, hey, I appreciate you making it safe. Something happens in their life, their car breaks down, something like that. And instead of your first reaction of saying, hey, look, when can you get that fixed? It turns into, well, do you need help finding a shop? I might know somebody that can fix that for you. Is there any, hey, are you going to be able to get groceries tonight? Are you going to be able to pick your husband up? Something in that nature, versus bringing it to the negative of how can you get back to work, pretty much. That person already knows they need to get back to work. They need a paycheck. That's why we go to work. Let's be honest. So the next part is being inclusive. So now I'm not talking about necessarily like diversity, equity, inclusion, that type of stuff, where we're talking about race and all that stuff. What I'm really talking about is being inclusive of other people's opinions. Now, culturally, that may be some things. Ethnicity-wise, that may be some things. Race-wise, that may be some things. Religion-wise, that may be something. But the thing for this is you want to be inclusive of perspective. You may want to listen to your team and say, how do they feel about a certain process? How do they feel about something that's rolling out? What's something new? I just did this with a team the other day. I asked them, what are some things y'all want to do to be able to move this particular result? What are some things that y'all want to do to where we can get you the most benefit for yourself? Instead of me saying, this is the plan, this is the goal. Now, sometimes you have to do that. But with most teams, you can just get together with that person and then be like, hey, look, this is what do we want to do as a team? What is your perspective on it? Why do you have issues with it? Why don't you have issues with it? There's a lot of times in processes, I'll give it to somebody and be like, go and break that for me. Because I want people to be able to see that their voice matters, that their opinion matters, that their perspective matters. Because look, me saying go and break this process, it may get broken. That's a plus for me. It may not get broken. That's a plus for me, because I have to be able to embrace the fact that someone else can do the job with me, not for me. They can do it with me. This one's real quick. I'm not even going to touch on this for too long, but it's listening. You just have to listen to people. So often we're trying to give orders. We're trying to tell people what to do. We're trying to tell people where they should be going, how they should be going, how fast they should be going, all that stuff. Well, we're not actually listening to their needs. I want you to start to think about, how do I effectively listen to someone, and what are their needs? What's their perspective? What insight might they have? That type of stuff. And the final part is, and I'm going to cap this off for y'all, I want you to trust people. Too often in corporate America, too often when I'm dealing with companies, you're working on their leaders, they don't trust. Like, there's always a method, of course, of like trust but verify. But then we start to go down this micromanagement path where we're trying to tell people when they do it, how they do it, when they're going to check in, how many times they're going to check in, how much they need to have by the check-in. And just, they don't necessarily allow someone to do the job. They take the autonomy out of the job. And that's not necessarily what people want. People don't want somebody hanging over their shoulder all the time. They don't want somebody always checking behind them in their work. Of course, again, trust but verify. If you know you have a troublemaker, I've been there before myself. If you know you have a troublemaker, check their work. You'll save yourself a headache later. But if you know that this person is accurate every single time, I don't need to go behind that person and say, and scream it to the world, hey, I checked your work, good job on this. Now, you could be given praise for such particular things, but you have to allow people to do their job. We put too many processes in place. We put too many things in place that show someone, I don't necessarily trust you. So look, as we wrap this up, I want y'all to really engage. I want y'all to send comments to the video, give me reviews, download it for sure. But this is your first episode of the Elevation Change podcast. So happy birthday to myself. If anybody else is out there is a May baby, happy birthday to you too. And on that note, again, so the goal, if you've ever listened to my videos, the goal in life is to always become somebody that someone else can count on. So I hope that's you. I hope you leave me a review, and y'all have a good night.